So this is the start of the bread. This is 60 grams of liquid ghee in with 600 grams of flour. Salt's already whisked into the flour. Now I'm adding 100 mils of water, 100 grams of water with the yeast and sugar. Just adding that straight into the rest of the mixture. And then the final liquid component is the yogurt and water, which I've just put in one bowl just for speed. Just whisk that up, add it all in. And I'm just working completely to the recipe quantities here. I'm not trying to get it in a particular consistency wherever. I've done this a few times before and I can see that it works. I'm just mixing that together, giving it a bit of a initial bind together. Now some people will probably mix this a lot further than I do in the bowl. So you can see now we've got the dough, just clearing a few bits away. I'm just going to mix this together with a spatula until it starts to come together. I'm not going to do anything to turn this into a proper dough in the bowl because I just found experience is the easiest way to do it is to get it just about the right point and then tip it out onto the worktop and take it from there. So one thing for next time is the camera tries to focus on my hand, not staying on the bowl, so I need to make sure I set the focus better next time. So I'm just turning this out, leaving it on the worktop, and I'm going to start to work that together, mostly by hand, until we start to get something that approximates a nice smooth dough. It's going to take a bit of scraping and kneading. I'm not going to subject you to the whole process. I will cut some of the boring bits out of it, but again, just get your hands in there, start to fold it together, incorporate the loose bits of flour that are around. Obviously, this is where the scraper comes in useful. As you can see, I've got two. I've got soft scraper that I use, and I've got a hard straight edge metal scraper as well, and it's just kind of essential if you're going to make bread. Quite honestly, I find it very hard to do without. I find it quite easy to sort of use the scraper in one hand and to knead with the other, but if you're not careful, if you do too much sort of that cutting motion once it starts to come together, you'll break the strands of gluten that you're trying to create, so you don't want to do too much of that. You can see at the moment it's pliable dough, it's still quite sticky, it's sticking to my hand, it's very lumpy, it's grainy textured, and it's tearing rather than stretching as it goes. So I folded through here to about 2 minutes into the kneading process. You can see how the texture of the dough has changed. It's now much more pliable, it's holding together better as I move it, and this is really more about stretching the dough now, and that change is all about the gluten. And while I'm making naan, this applies to absolutely any bread type you're going to make. You just want to be able to get it to stretch and smear and get as much. This is what you want to be doing to make it really develop that gluten and get that lovely soft texture at the end of the process. Again, I'm kneading this for a total of about 6 minutes, which is about right for the naan breads. For other traditional loaves, it's more like 8 minutes. You want to be kneading this fairly briskly as well. If in doubt, to start with, I would say almost go a little bit longer. You can overwork it, particularly with a machine, but it's not likely to be the fault of the first time cook. So six minutes is an absolute minimum for naan, and 8 minutes for other more conventional breads. So I skipped you to the very last sort of minute or so of the kneading, and you can see now how the dough has changed again. It's become wetter as the structure of the flour has sort of broken down, the gluten's come out. It's very, very sticky at this stage, as you can see. Just having to scrape it off my hands here and trying to just gather this up into a bowl at the very end. Yeah, just using the scraper to make sure I got it all off the worktop. I don't want to leave any more behind than I have to. One other tip, if you're doing this as well, rub your hands with dry flour afterwards and throw the stuff in the bin rather than this all going down the drain. It'll block your pipes up if you do a lot of baking. But there you go, that's pretty much there in one piece now, and that's ready to go into an oiled bowl and to prove for about 2 hours before rolling out the naan. So all I've done here is just scooped the dough up into a bowl, lined it with just a splurt of olive oil, just a tablespoon or so, or not even that, a couple of teaspoons. Flip the dough over once just to cover it all, and then I'm going to leave that to prove. That's actually a shower cap from a hotel, just to cover it over. It's easier than mucking about with cling film that doesn't stick to the bowl very well. And I've got an oven with a defrost setting that's brilliant for proving it. So that's how I do my bread.